Sorry, Julie. Of course, of all things, my son called, probably to tattle on his sister again. Oh, I think I disabled Messenger, so I shouldn't have that problem again. All right. I apologize, guys. That's why I knew I needed to try it and make sure I got all my ducks in a row. And then start at 9, so we're just about there. All right. Turning off my messages. Okay. Bear with me for just a second here. All right. So, as I was getting ready to say earlier, I started to mix my stuff. I had a request that somebody wanted me to do a pour with density. So, I'm going to do a quick pile just to show you how it's done. And then add silicone in the rest of my paints. And we'll go from there. The one thing I've noticed with pouring with density is with my new recipe with the flow aid, it causes a lot of surface tension, so it does sometimes cause an issue with creating cells. So I do have some paints mixed that don't have the flow aid in it. So I'm going to do a pour side by side, with one with the flow aid and one with just Floetrol, so we can see exactly if it does really sell or not. I could have had the densities wrong. So I will keep looking at my phone to see if anybody has asked me a question or anything. If I don't answer right away, just ask it again. Because I've been live before, or I've been in live feeds before, and I know it's very difficult to see sometimes. So the color palette in Gina's group, I tried to get it as accurate as I could. So I have dioxazine purple. I added some quinacridone magenta to it, and to give it just, it was almost like a burgundy violet kind of color. So I did lighten it up a little bit. Then the magenta has quinacridone magenta, and I ran out of it, so I had to use this. I'm not too fond of these paints, but it works. So it also does not tell me the density on it, but I do know from using these paints before that they're pretty light in viscosity. So the way you pour with density is a lot of your paints, Artist Loft, Liquitex Basic, Golden, they'll all tell you on the side if it's transparent, semi-transparent, or opaque. Transparent being very light, somewhat see-through. Then semi is in the middle, and then opaque is thick. Golden takes their, they do swatches on every one of their paints. So, like, of course, black is totally opaque. And then on the back, it'll tell you there's a graph. So it'll say opaque or transparent, in the middle or whatever. So they've really helped you out when it comes to pouring, based on viscosity of the paint. They also have a sheet that's, they list all the gravitational viscosities in each paint. So, of course, the lower the gravity, the thinner the paint, and the higher the gravity, the heavier the paint. So I've kind of used that. Liquitex was real ignorant about it. They told me it was proprietary information, and they wouldn't disclose any of it to me, and that was that. So, I mean, I know a lot of, like, the fluorescents, the quinacridones, things like that, things that are really close to certain colors that are transparent, they usually have a light density as well. All the metallics, things like copper and silver and gold and things like that, they're all heavy. So I have also Suave Arts. She's another one that I have watched repeatedly along with Danny Clark. And I don't know if either of them post anymore, but they both had some really good information. They taught me a lot. And basically, you know, if you're doing a flip cup, you want your heavy paints on the bottom. They're the ones that go in the cup first. And then your transparent paints go on the top. Wait a minute, do I have that backwards? Okay, no, I don't. So yeah, so when you flip your cup, it causes the opaque paints to now be on top, which they're going to sink, and the transparent paints are going to rise, and then that in itself causes cells. Okay? So, anyway, let's see. I don't see... All right. Now, I have Troll and Liquitex pouring medium. That's usually how I do my recipe for the videos that you've seen before. So I filled it all the way up with Floetrol like a dummy. So maybe I should get a bigger cup. But yes, see how far I filled it with paint? So right there, I'm going to do half, 1 part paint, 1 part pouring medium, which is going to bring me to about right there. And then I'll mix it up, and then whatever my consistency is, then I'll add, either if I'm doing a density pour, then I would add more medium until I got the fluid that the fluidity that I was looking for. Just normally without, if I was adding silicone, then I would just add the flow aid mixture or water. You can actually use water. It doesn't matter. You'll still, it'll still sell up. But if you add too much water without the flow aid, your paints will darken. All right. So I'm just adding like 20% Liquitex pouring medium. And all right, let me grab some tiles real quick. Most of the craft paints, with the exception of like copper and white and black and things like that, all the color shifts from folk art, they are as light as can be. If you're looking to get cells without silicone and you use that as your last paint in the cup, that will sell. There's also an oil to it too, so it might be what is it linseed oil that they use. I don't know exactly how they make paint, but I do know that sometimes I hit little tiny pits of, it looks like silicone, but I know I didn't add any silicone in there. So it's kind of like an easy way to make cells happen. As a matter of fact, I will show you. Really quick just on a small tile, All right. All right. So that's just teal flash from Folk Art. And I'm doing one part paint to 2 parts pouring medium, okay? Just like that. And I might need to add just a little more paint. I think I added too much medium, but yep. For some reason my chat window went away. Top chat, live chat, all messages are visible. There we go. You're welcome, Julie. All right. Yeah, it was funny. I was watching the counter and some people were probably like, oh, we already know this. We're out of here. But, you know, it is what it is. Not everybody knows until they learn it. So, all right. I got to make my white real quick, too. So, you know what? Let's see. Now we'll just, I'll put white in another cup, too. Pump for that. Now that was Artist Loft White, so it does have some Flow-Aid mixture in there already. So you don't have to add as much pouring medium or even water as you would with other colors, because it already has, you know, a fluid-like texture. It is kind of thick. It's really not that runny, but they mix really well. And someone popped on Gina's group the other night and posted a coupon, and I wound up getting all those pump Artist Loft paints for 99 cents. I couldn't believe it. I almost thought somewhere along the line they were going to call me and be like, no, you can't do that. But they let it happen. All right, one more just for demonstration. Let's do neon orange, which is transparent. But I do know that it's heavier than the craft paint. So, just from trying things before. I haven't done this in a while. Put a little more medium. Poured without silicone, I mean. I haven't done it in a while. I'm just adding a little bit of water to this. Water helps break the surface tension. So you don't have to add a lot, but that's one thing Suave Arts taught me. So, and that's all you do. You know, you just mix and you check it. You mix it and you check it. I'll use a bigger popsicle stick just so you can see exactly, you know, what it looks like coming off the popsicle stick. I'm trying to do this and look at the camera at the same time. See, whoops. Come around this way. Hi, Marina. Maybe if I go, nope. All right, so obviously this is just giving me a hard time. But see how it just keeps running like that, and then it just slowly dissipates on the top. How it has like a little mountain and then it goes away. That's the consistency that I'm always looking for. You really want it to run off your stick for a good 5 seconds, you know, without making like a really thick trail of it hitting the top of your cup. Excuse me. So let's get this party started. I've used everything, and the one thing I love the most is spray paint caps. But I save the caps to everything, like mayonnaise, spaghetti jars, like anything that has a thick peanut butter tops or peanut butter jar tops, anything that gives me enough to get my fingers up under the tile or whatever I'm working with, I go for it. But yeah, you can use anything really, just to get your tile off a little bit. All right, so no silicone, right? We're gonna put our white in first. God, I hope this works and I don't look like such an idiot. If it doesn't work, then I apologize in advance. All right, so let's see. I've done like that, and I would layer it like that. So one way or another, the paint is going to rise, okay? You can even come through with a little white again, but I always leave some kind of gap. I mean, that's psychologically, I don't know if you really need to do that, but somehow I've convinced myself that I need to do it every time. I don't know if you guys get like that too. But the other thing is time. Density boring, sometimes you nail it right away and cells will pop, and other times you gotta let it sit, but you just gotta be patient. I used to torch the hell out of my paints. Alright. And I didn't get gloves on first. But alright, so in this case, you could see cell action you could see cells happening right there. I'm gonna get my other glove on. Now this is a little tiny tile. The bigger the substrate, the more paint you need, obviously. But you just want to tilt really slow, because cells will dissipate very easily. And then at this time, I would give it a little torch, because that's when other stuff is going to come up from the heat. Like that. And you can see cells starting to happen. So I probably made, thinking back, because I haven't done this in a while, I probably made my mix too thin. But for the most part, I'm sure you can grasp the concept of it now. All right, and then I'll set this off to the side for right now. We'll see if anything else still develops. So the other thing that you can do, there is ways that you can go about, making cells happen. And one of them is micaceous iron oxide. This is full. It feels like a roll of nickels. That's how heavy it is. And carbon black, that's another really heavy one. So is zinc white. You use things like that. I probably should have, and I totally forgot, being under the gun live. I don't think about all that kind of stuff. But I might even be able to stretch just a little more. It is kind of pretty, though. I mean, I know it's really, really bright in the camera. Let me see if turning this light off makes it more bright or less bright. Maybe not. All right. So I will try my best to hurry up and get all these others done, which is just the 3, but let me give you guys a close-up, because I don't know if you could see it as well. Things might happen here in the next 15 minutes. Who knows? So you can see the orange is sinking and the teal is rising. So I definitely had the density correct. I probably should have layered it different. But in a nutshell, that's how it happens. All right, so going to the original, back to the original with, Floetrol, Liquitex, and the Flow-Aid. Thank you. There's a few people on Instagram that get cells all the time with, I still have not fully figured out how they do it. Unless they're lying, and I mean, who am I to judge that? But, I'm not going to be like, are you really telling the truth? But some of them are getting just these phenomenal looking cells. I'm not exactly sure how. I mean, I did try with GAC 800. I did try with Liquitex by itself. I went through a lot of paint, and I got to the point where I was like, I don't know if I really am financially capable of wasting, even though it's technically I've gained so much more knowledge. So in the long run, it's really not wasting. But at the time, it really felt like it was, because I was getting no source of income on the rebound. All right, so yeah, 1 part paint and 1 part pouring medium. It's kind of hard to show and tell, but you can kind of see the line is right here. Whoops, right there. So 1 part paint, 1 part pouring medium. Okay. And let me bust out the big popsicle stick. try to do this as quick as I can. So same thing as before, I bow my cup in. I actually bend it like that. And I just, you know, smash it up against the side. Sorry, I'm really trying to get a better tripod, and I just haven't found one that I really like yet. My boyfriend's building me a countertop height art table, so I don't have to hunch over as much. And I'm afraid to get a tripod now and then have it, like, you know, not work for when he does that. Okay, so that's mixed. I really want to say I put a good 1/8 of a cup of this fluid mixture. Maybe a little bit less than that, but it, I mean, it's just going. And it definitely saves on pouring medium, that's for sure. It's still too thick, but we're almost there. Can you guys see that? So I'm actually pretty happy with that, I think. Gosh, it's still a little on the thick side, though. I changed mine. Just a little more. All right. I was getting ready to stick an orange popsicle stick into the white. Have you guys ever done that? All right. The good thing about the white with the flow aid is it pretty much mixes almost instantly. So yeah, I guess that's really all I'm gonna get, I guess. I got a couple more little cells happening over there just now, but not much. It has like this wispy purple tinge to it. It's kind of pretty. Orange and teal make this really, I don't even know how to be, almost like a smoky pink purple. Maybe like a lavender, kind of, but not. Alright, yeah, so like I said, since it already has flow in there, it doesn't need nearly as much as like the other colors. Alright, that one's good to go too. I'm going to switch my situation up here because if you guys are anything like me, that's going to go over. I promise. Alright. This is warm metal. I get it from Target. I absolutely love this color. Warm metal. But it's one of those things that is just so overly metallic. It's almost like a chrome. But that, you know, that's also a craft paint, so I don't need a lot of pouring medium either. Craft paints, I don't do 1-to-1. I do like 1 part paint to like a half part pouring medium. Might just have enough here. That's crazy. I get to the point where I've done it for so long, I think I just know somehow in the back of my mind. One of the videos I have where my daughter did a pour on tiles, she didn't even put no Floetrol in the color shifts. I was like, what are you doing? She's like, are you going to stand over my shoulder and watch me, or are you going to let me do this? And I was like, okay, I'm out of here. So I left her alone and just left the thing recording. And yep, she made these awesome looking tiles with no Floetrol. All right. Okay, so if you can see, it kind of mounds a little bit. That's okay for me for craft paint. I don't mind it being a little bit on the thick side because it's really deceptive. It might seem thick, but I promise you it's not. So let me get a thicker stick just so you can gauge. See how it's like making an indentation on the top? That's totally fine by me. I'm probably just going to leave it just the way it is. And then this one already was left over, and then I added some pink to it, or some magenta to it, so I am going to need to add a little more Floetrol to it. Basically, that's really how much paint I added. I might give it a splash of Liquitex pouring medium too. But there's really no, there's really no rules to it. It's just, once you get it down pat, you'll realize that you go outside of your, typical 1 part paint, 1 part Floetrol or whatever. You'll notice you start to stretch that and see if it works. Alright. So yeah, that's really thick. So we're like 90% there, 95% there. So silicone, Spot On treadmill lubricant is like my saving grace. I really mean it. I mean, I have the coconut hair milk. I have the 3-in-1. I called it the 3-in-when it feels like it. I have Master Blaster. I don't even know what this stuff is, but you name it. Look what I've done to this can. You name it, I've tried it. The argan oil. Actually, that gave me some pretty cool sales, I will admit that. But, you know, it still was hit or miss because there was so much other stuff in it. Okay. Now this in the color palette was kind of like, it was like a Prussian blue. And I had some turquoise left over mixed with black. So I added some phthalo blue to it. So now it's a metallic Prussian blue. But it's a heavy color. Guys, I need to take 30 seconds. I gotta pee. I'm sorry. I've been standing here dancing trying to... So I will be right back. Okay. Alright, you guys still with me? Sorry about that. Alright, so yeah, that's still very thick. So I need to get more medium. And I might as well just pour some into my cup. Down to the bottom of the barrel in this. I went to resin for a while over the holidays, and I can imagine there's probably just a solid layer of Floetrol on the inside of this bottle. But it didn't let me down. So yeah. So what do you guys want to see? I mean, I have enough to do. Let me pull up the chat. I don't know if anybody's talked or if you guys are just watching. Oh, sorry, Jenn, I forgot. Sorry, Julie. It's like 20% Liquitex added to the Floetrol, but you don't have to do it. You know, that's just a boiled down preference that that I decided to do. Plus, I have 2 gallons of Liquitex pouring medium just sitting here, and I really don't care for it too much by itself. I noticed that Floetrol in itself is cell reactive, so I would rather add something a little more cell reactive than, you know, just having the Liquitex by itself. Plus, Liquitex is so expensive. If there's any way that I can stretch it out and stretch my buck to it, then that's what I'm going to do. Alright. I'm totally eyeballing this because, like I said, it was left over already. Pre-mixed leftover. Alright, but I know I have enough medium in there now, so I'm just going to let loose with the flow water mix. Alright, I'm happy with that right there. I know it's kind of hard to see because it's such a dark color, but that's perfect. It needed just that little extra bit and it was good. You'd be surprised how much paint gets on your popsicle stick too. So I always like scrape my stick and stick it back in and then re-scrape it again, and it'll get whatever is gunked up on your stick off. See, for a blue color, my stick's almost clean. Alright, well, I think we're there, you guys. So, silicone. Now, like I said, I've always put my silicone in my most dense color, or, you know, one of the most dense. So, in this case, I am still going to add it to my white. And I think I'm going to pour some purple into a cup and add a drop of it into there too. And we'll see how that goes. That dioxazine purple, this I've had for probably, I want to say back since last April. It has kept that long, and I've already poured twice with it. So it just goes to show that as long as you have a, you know, cap on tight, and every once in a while I will come and just shake my paints. I have them in a case with a lid. I would just shake the whole case. But yeah, never, it thickened up a little on me, but I just thinned it back down, and I used it in the last big tiles that I did. Alright, bubbles, you can also tap your cup, bounce it, and if you blow on the top, it'll also pop most of them after you bounce and bring it up to the top. It's something I learned along the way. I have no idea how I accomplished that. Alright, so what are you guys thinking? Should I do a canvas? Should I do tiles? Or larger tiles? Like I said, I do have a lot of paint. I have an 11 by 14 canvas. What do you think I should do? Canvas, canvas. Okay. Alrighty. So I've taped it around the bottom with painter's tape. I just, you know, rubbed my finger across it one more time because the heat of from your hands will warm the glue a little bit. It's a little floppy right now, so I always, you know, spray the back of it. Where is my spray bottle? It walked off. It sprouted legs and walked away. Nope. It didn't get too far. Alright, so I don't want to spray it towards the tile, but just like that. Okay. And in the beginning, it's like real, like, makes like a quick thump. As the canvas tightens, it'll have an echo to it. So I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm going to try. Hear that echo afterwards? That way you know your canvas is tight. I learned that from my artist friend. Her instructor taught them that in school. Alright, I know you guys probably like to look at this, but I gotta get it out of here, or else we are going to look at this upside down. Okay. Alright, so 11 by 14 canvas, I use 8 ounces of paint. Because if you figure, I use an ounce of paint for a 4 by 4 tile. I mean, it's really, these things are off. Maybe that's why Habitat for Humanity had it. I've never measured an actual tile from a store, so I don't know if it's off a little bit because of the grout, or I'm just not sure. So if you figure, I know there's a sheet running around, but we figure that's 2, 4, that's 6 ounces right there. Then you have a little bit on the edge, plus your edges. That's how I round up to 8 ounces of paint. And it hasn't steered me wrong yet. Alright. Whoops. Look at that. That's perfect. I moved it out of the way the last time I used. Things are about to get messy. Thanks for demonstrating. The text went away before I could finish reading it. Yeah, no, you don't even need to let it completely dry. I mean, I've had this canvas for a while, so you see how it's like kind of saggy in here? Like you actually, I mean, I've done it this way a couple times. You can actually, just lightly spray it down in there. I mean, don't saturate it or anything, but you can see like this corner will tighten up. It's kind of crazy. You can actually almost watch it. I mean, it's not going to get it fully, as tight as it was when you pulled it out of the package, but it will, it'll tighten it up pretty good. And you can also tighten it. You can spray the back of it again when your pour is dry. Like if you're getting ready to resin or varnish it, you can spray it again to make sure your resin doesn't sag. And then you can also put, you can put things in here too to tighten up your canvas, the little notches. But you hear the echo now? It's even longer because it tightened even more. All right. So what color do we want predominantly? I mean, this is always a roll of the dice, but pink is going to rise. Whoops. This is going to rise too. And the rest are opaque, so I mean, I'm gonna layer it to where it all, is intermixed and everything, but and then I'm wondering if I want to do 2 4 ounces or if I want to do 1 8 ounce. Because I got these little guys, and they're 4 ounces. They're silicone. Yeah, why don't we do that? That way it'll give me at least a variety of Like, I'll still put the same color on the bottom. Oh yeah, silicone. Forgot. Where is my... Okay, so yeah, for those of you who haven't seen it, Spot On Treadmill. I like this stuff the most. I was always putting 1 drop in my smaller cup. I'm going to put 2 drops in it this time, okay? 1, 2. Whoops. Oh man, that was 3, but it'll be alright. And like I've said before, I just stick my stick in, and 1, 2, 3. And that's the extent of it. Okay. Let's do orange. Do a lot of orange here. And then let's do some purple over here. And then I'll switch. Whoa. Of course. So it'll be kind of inverted. Who knows if it's really going to be that way, but I'd like to think it would. Oh, might as well. Look at that. That was a chunk right there. You are not welcome. All right. I have no idea what I'm doing at this point. I'm just doing it. Making it up as I go along. I'll tell you what, since I've got it lying around, why don't we just top it off with that? You know what I just noticed? I didn't add this. Like a dummy. All right. Stand back. Whoops. Everything out of my way. felt like it was getting ready to go. So I was like, oh, I'm not flipping it. We're just going to make it dirty. Hey, that's pretty cool. At this point, you can also leave your cups on the side and let it drain down a little bit, and you can get your corners, or you don't have to. It's up to you. Oh. Actually, I don't think I'm going to have that opportunity. All right, so I usually just kind of go around like this a little bit. See, that's kind of spreading it a little more. And then you would pick a corner you want to go to. Sorry, guys. So at this point, you want to bring your center back kind of slow, you know? And let's say, oh my gosh, I really like those cells over there. I don't want to lose them. Well, you really don't have to, okay? You can come in with something like, let's say, orange, okay? And you can put a little bit down like that. So now your cells have something to ride on. So they are starting to distort a little bit, so I would just go back. You know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It is what it is. We are not in control here. All right. I'll work on those corners a few, but at this point I at least want a torch so cells can start coming. Should. Let me wipe my hands real quick. Oh, is that? I don't know if that's off balance or not, but let me move quick. I need to put got a nice big old air bubble right in the center there. Or is that might be something else. It was an air bubble. Shit. I didn't want to pour those cells off, but maybe I should go down to this corner. Just, what do you think, guys? Should I keep tilting or should I leave it? This is the part where I always jump the gun. Stop there. Okay. And more cells will happen too. You know, the 15 minutes is really crucial. That's when everything, you know, comes or goes. If you, on your sides and everything, if you kind of tap your finger along, that's when you're going to, you know, get some paint built up and it's going to sink down. So it'll make your edges look just as good as the actual painting. But yeah. I kind of wish that was broken up a little bit, but it is what it is, you know. we can't control what happens. See the air bubbles? So normally it's good to let your paint sit for just a little bit and let all those air bubbles stop. You know, at first I was putting splashes of alcohol in and the whole nine with that, and then I realized that it was also distorting my cells. So I stopped that too. But let me see. Since you don't torch until after you have tilted to cover the canvas, does that stop cells? I gotta read your question again. Yes, so that another thing, it just boils down to personal preference. I like, you know, big uniform cells like that in clusters. I don't like, I could add a couple drops of silicone in all my colors and just have, you know, an explosion of cells, but I usually wait until the end, and then the heat brings the cells to the surface. And it also, you know, for some reason, I haven't figured out why, but it's either the new recipe or it's just the way I do it. But I don't get those pockets of silicone down to the canvas, you know, how like typically we would. And I don't know if it's because I torch at the end. I'm not exactly sure why it happens, but that's pretty much, yeah, that's, after watching so many videos and everything, and I saw people torching at the end and getting that explosion of cells, I used to go crazy for that. And then once I got my consistencies down right, and I realized cells were going to happen regardless, if I torch in the beginning, a lot of times it's just really just loud and sporadic. It gives like no place for your eyes to rest. And then they do tend to distort and misshape if they're not tilted right, or if you over tilt, then they distort and don't look too hot. I just love that. I am so angry for tilting some of that off. I go crazy for orange. I can't help myself. But I'm kind of glad I threw that teal in. So yeah, guys, if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. Or, you know, I do have a bunch of paint left over. I could keep going, but I have to figure out a place to put it. Put this painting for now. But yeah, that's really cool. It's definitely different. Just to give you an idea, let me pull up the I'm going to pull up the color palette again. It's pretty close, huh? Yep. I'm going to look to see if I have another 11 by 14. Maybe make it a diptych. I also really want to make sure I get this from, stop this movement. I mean, it moves a little bit, but it doesn't move that much. And I probably could have went with 7.5 ounces of paint, but I did that on the last 11 by 14 I did. I used 8 ounces of paint, so, you know, I might have made it a little thinner this time. Who knows? That almost looks like the bottom of a mushroom or something, or a flying saucer or something. It's pretty crazy. You guys want a close-up? Now when it dries, because there is a solid sheet of the warm meadow color, I probably will fill in those little air bubbles just to make it look a little more less bubbly. Alright guys, yeah, so I'm going to look for another canvas, and you're welcome to hang out, and we'll see what we can do from there. I can always pour on another sheet of photo paper too, if you saw that the other day. I got one. We can go around too. I just got to tape up the edge real quick, and I gotta move this canvas, so. You guys want to take a break? I'll keep the feed rolling, but. An hour. Cool. Alright guys, give me 10 minutes to move everything out of the way and tape this new canvas up. Alright, I just gotta put push pins in and we'll be ready to go again. don't know if those were there before or not. Anyway, ta-da. Alright, let me set up my spot over here to move it. I'm such a dummy. I don't need spray paint caps. There's already the pegs in the bottom. Yeah, we're just about done moving. So what you see is what we will get. The other thing you can do, if you are your underside, okay, you're still dripping and stripping, and you don't know what to do. If you stick your finger right, can you see me over here? If you stick your finger along this edge, it'll break the tension from the gravity. Because like what'll happen is underneath here, it'll puddle, and that in itself is pulling your paint down. So if you wipe along the edge, along with underneath, it'll break that, and the paint won't have anything else grabbing onto it to pull it down. So you just, you gotta kind of wipe under it a couple times, and it will stop. All right, let's get this out of the way. By painting number 1. All right. Wax paper, where did it go? There we go. Hang on, Carrie, I got a message from my kids. My kids go to their dads, and they bug me more when they're there than when they're here. see. Spray bottle. Here we go. Come on. There it is. All right. So I will use this cup. Actually, I'm going to use this. It's a little wider, and I know that this is... I looked at this the other day when I did the other one. Two cups, so 1 cup, basically, you know, halfway full. And I won't forget this time. am going to whip up some more teal real quick, though, because I really like that in there. Oh, yeah. The white. Alright, I think we're pretty much there. Anything else is going to be too much. I think. Cross. Switch it up a little bit. OMG, I love that. Oh, I don't even want to move it. Hello. So, I'm not convinced I used enough paint. So, let's... I'm just kidding myself with that little bit. Hang on. see how my cells started to misshape. So that's why I usually come in and I add just a little more paint. It says it's a two cup bowl, and I filled it halfway. But you cannot save all your cells. It's not possible. You know, as bad as you want to, or as great as they look, you just, there's just no possible way to keep them all. Actually, before I stretch any further, this is the part where I'm going to torch. That's it. I'm not doing anymore. Looks better than that in your face orange right there, I think. But now I'm going to stop playing with it before I'm sorry. That happens so much. You just think that just a little more, just let me fix that cell right there, and then before you know it, it's gone. Everything everything about the piece is just, that's it. What a difference. I can't wait to hold these two side by side. Thank you. Yeah, everybody in the group picked it. So they voted on the colors, and I honored the vote. And yeah, it was pretty unanimous. I mean, there was a couple other palettes that I was just totally in love with, and was shocked that not too many people picked them. But one thing I've started to realize recently is what I like doesn't matter. But yeah, I mean, I see yellow, I see some green. There's all kinds of stuff coming out of this one. There's like an eyeball right there. But yeah, I'm very happy with this piece. I wish I had another canvas. I mean, I probably do, but then I gotta mix more paint, so I'll probably add to it tomorrow or something. Mix another round just to make it a triptych. But yeah, so, well, I know that turns you sideways, so. There you are. And it's a learning process every single time, so I wish I put more white in here. But it is what it is. All my orange sank in this one, and I have some orange in that one. Now, if I do another one to make it look like, you know, one or the other, then the one that stands out the most can go in the center and be a triptych. And then here's our other little tile with no silicone. Well, guys, I will post pictures of the dried piece. But for now, it's a wrap. And if anybody has any questions or anything, you can always, you know, message me, or most of you know how to find me. God, I can't believe the difference. I mean, I can see the similarities in the cells, but you're welcome, Marina. And Carrie. Almost 2 hours. Wow. I am dedicated to my craft, let me tell you. We all are. All right, guys, I guess I'm going to turn the feed off, so thanks so much for watching. Think you want me to do different, or I think I'll continue this next week. Maybe I'll try to get creative with it too. And yeah, thanks for watching.